Before I open my clay and start playing with it, I like to have an idea of what I want to make. I kind of like the oval, because this has been done so many times. Now, how am I going to have the earring connect? That's something I've got to think about before I even start my project. I think what I'm going to do is, this is going to be 2 layers. This will be 1 layer, and this will be 1 layer with texture in it. I'm going to put a piece of silver wire inside the 2 layers, between the 2 layers, sandwich it, and that silver wire will act as my earring wire and come back down like that. So in other words, what I'm going to do is, I'll have, from the side view, I'll have the top piece, which will have a hole in it, and this won't be there. I'll have the bottom piece, which will have texture on it, and that texture will show through this hole. And then my silver wire will go all the way from that beginning of that hole area, which would be right here, and come out, and then after I fire it, I'll bend it around into my earring piece. And so it'll look like that. The way that we keep our lump clay a certain thickness is that we roll it between stacks of cards. And here I've stacked 4 cards together and taped them together. So if I wanted my clay to be 6 cards thick, then I would put 6 cards down, put my clay down between the cards, and then I roll across over them. What I do when I have a narrow stamp like this is I stack the cards on each side of it to the same thickness as the stamp, and then I add some cards for the thickness that I want my clay to be. So I'm going to just flip this over so I don't get confused as to how tall it is. Now I have a flat surface on the back of this so I can measure how tall this stamp is. And it is actually 10 cards thick. If I put 6 and 4 together, then I can rub my finger across here and it's even. So now I'll flip my stamp back over face up, and I'm going to put my 3 cards thickness on here that I want my clay to be. A good way to keep your clay moist while you're working with it is to roll it out between a clear folder cover. The first thing I want to do is to lube the inside of this plastic cover so that my clay does not stick to it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of olive oil, get it on my hands, so my hands are ready now, and put a little bit on this report cover. Okay, I've got my report cover all lubed up, and so I'm going to put my texture here, and then I'm going to stack my cards on each side of it like I did before. And now I've got my hands lubed and I'm ready to go. I don't need to lube my roller because I'm going to roll it on the outside of the report cover. Today I'm going to be using PMC 3. I got this back in April. I always date my clay when I get it in, so I'm sure to use the older clay first. So I'm just going to tear this open and open up my clay. This is 16 grams of fine silver clay. If you ever need the instructions for this, it's in this back packet right here. When you open up your package, your clay is going to stick to the package. Don't worry about it. You can either pull that clay off the package. I always just tear this corner piece open and pull my clay out. Now this clay is recyclable. I can either scrape it off with the back of my fingernail like this and pick it all up, or I can let it dry and then just put it in my scraps. Since I'm going to cut it into this shape, I've made my clay long and narrow so I get it long enough, rolled out long enough to cut my shapes out. First thing I'm going to do is put my roller right here in the center, press it down lightly, don't try to roll it out at one time, and I'm going to roll from the center out and from the center out, from the center out and from the center out. If you go back and forth, you get a double image of your texture. Alright, now I've got it rolled out. Flex this backwards, and I have my texture. Okay, the first thing I want to do is kind of look at my shape and see where I want to cut this out. I think I'm going to use this smaller one here. And my texture is only going to show in the center. So I want to kind of make it to where this neat design is going to show up. So I'm going to have an opening like this. So that's part of the design I'll be seeing. I'm going to cut 2 earring bases with my penknife. I'm going to hold it straight up and down and just lightly drag it through the clay. Go ahead and get a second one. Okay, and just pick this up. I'm not concerned about the edges. I'll sand those smooth later. Just want to get my shapes out. Now my excess clay, I'm going to fold up tightly and put into some plastic for safekeeping. And I can go ahead and squirt just a little bit of water on there, and that'll help keep it moist. Because I rolled these on this report cover, I can easily pick it up, flex the report cover, and take these off. And I'm going to put them on this little coffee warmer